Welcome back to the Boneyard podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Shaffett, along with my good friend,
Artemis Brower.
We're coming to you this week with episode 196.
Yes, sir.
Already, I have sat here and talked to you 196 times about East Carolina athletics. Doesn't feel like it, man. We're creeping in on 200. I was sending out some emails. I was sending out some emails trying to finalize our 200 episode 200 guest. I'm hoping the one we want lands. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm doing real good. To kind of continue on that thing, the last 100, these previous 96 episodes that we've done has felt a lot faster than the first 100. I don't know. It has. It just felt because it just feels like 2 weeks ago we did episode 100. You had Mike Houston on and interviewed Coach Houston, and now we're seriously about to be on 200, and did not honestly think we were going to get this far. I didn't think we were going to get to 100 episodes when we first started this thing, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, those days were tough back in the early days of COVID, sitting in Artie's apartment kitchen, talking to the likes of Mike Golick. Offered Mike Golick. Josh, I offered Mike Golick your job.
He was the very first person we offered.
He was the first. He had just been fired from ESPN, and we had him on the podcast. I said, "Hey, man, I know you're looking for a job. We don't pay much, but if you want an internship, we got you." So that will go down. That will go down as one of my best.
I think he got a good laugh out of that.
Yeah, I think it may. He either got a good laugh or he was just playing along, so that way he didn't offend us by what he said after we got off the call. We did Mike Oresco in your.
We did
in your apartment
right there in the yep, Mike Oresco.
What a chump!
So
Mike Oresco.
Did Jeff Blake in there? Did
yeah.
Shane Carden, I believe we did in that kitchen.
Shane Carden, Evan Krasinski.
Yeah. Did some big ones.
Bryce Williams. Got some. Yeah, we had some heavy hitters early on, and we're gonna get back to that. We need to get back to that. That was our bread and butter early on, and we've kind of gotten away. Just life gets in the way sometimes when this isn't your full-time job.
Right.
So yeah, well, we're gonna get back to some of that. We're trying to line up some decent guests over the summer. And I mean, we're completely independent. So this is something that Artie, Josh, and I are doing on the back end on our own. So bear with us. We don't have some of the affiliations like other media outlets do around Greenville. So it's a little bit harder to pull some of these every once in a while, but we're doing it. We're doing it. Artie, episode 196.
Yes.
Do you have a 96?
I do have a 96, kind of just random. Sticking with my theme of years. So, last week I did 1995. This week I'm going to do 1996. And I'm sticking with sports. So this is a sports-related theme. But, again, hella random, but honestly kind of important because we're two golf guys. We like golf. I know most of our listeners probably either play golf or like golf. So on, not this day, but August 29th, 1996, one little-known golfer by the name of Tiger
Eldrick.
Good old Eldrick made his professional PGA Tour debut just 3 days after winning, I believe, his third straight U.S. Amateur Championship, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, August 29th, 1996 is when Tiger Woods officially made his PGA Tour debut. We all know what happened in 97 Masters, and then it just takes off from there. So arguably the greatest golfer of all time. I believe the greatest golfer of all time. Obviously the greatest golfer I've ever seen. Not even close.
He's the greatest golfer of all time. An argument can be made about Jack Nicklaus, but he is the greatest golfer pound for pound of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Yeah.
No debate. No debate.
So that's my 96 for the week. Shout out Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods is the GOAT. tying it in, Artie, I'll be at the Wells Fargo Championship this Sunday.
That's right.
So if anybody's
Wish
going
I
out,
could have joined you, but it's Mother's Day, so had other obligations.
I told my baby mama and my mama that I would take them out to dinner on Saturday. That I was going to the golf tournament.
Hey, look, as long as we take care of mama, so gotta take
Hey,
care of
the mamas are taken care of. Daddy's gonna take his new truck and drive down to Charlotte for a golf tournament. So
love it. Speaking of, just a little side caveat, you never told me which one you went with. Which one did you get?
I went with the darker one.
Okay.
The darker one.
I'm gonna come see it eventually. I'm gonna come.
It's not here yet. It had to be delivered. So
okay.
But
you're gonna take me for a spin in that thing.
You'll be taken for plenty of spins in that thing, I'm sure. But no. Yeah, going down to Charlotte. My 96, Artie. I was gonna go a couple different ways. I almost went hockey again. Mm-hmm. There's one easy kind of chalk, Mikko Rantanen, Colorado Avalanche. There's a couple others that I could have gone with. I almost went with Seth Romero, former pitcher for the Washington Nationals. Most ECU fans will recall that he pitched for Houston between 2015 and 2017. In those years where ECU and Houston seem to go back and forth. Joe Davis still has me blocked on Twitter. So if you know, you know. But no, I'm going to go Neftali Perez. I mean, this guy, had a pretty good MLB career, 10 years in the league. Pitcher, just kind of wasn't going to be like your. He was never really. He started some games, but he was more of a relief pitcher. But he was one of your better relief pitchers. He was the rookie of the year, his rookie year, and he was a one-time All-Star. Played for Texas, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Philly, and then finished his career with the Dodgers out of Los Angeles. So Neftali Perez, you get into 96, slim pickings, man.
Yeah, it is.
Slim pickings. But all right, let's get into it. Before we do anything, just want to shout out the College Huddle. Excited to be members of that. I still need to fulfill my responsibility of going on the G5 Huddle. Been saying that I would do it. I just haven't had time. Won't do it this Sunday, but maybe next Sunday. There's a G5 podcast where all the College Huddle G5 podcasts are getting on. Plus, we have the College Huddle podcast where it's going to be kind of a hodgepodge of guests from all over the country doing that. So check it out. Once again, this isn't a network. Like, we're not sharing anything. We're not sharing any ad revenue or anything. This is just a place for independent podcasters, college sports podcasters, to get together and collaborate, right? Like, we're trying to kind of put our elbows out, and we got some heavy hitters in there. I like to think that we're one of the heavier hitters now. So check it out. Follow the College Huddle on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. But yeah, Artie, let's jump into it.
Let's get it.
It was announced today, Coach Mike Houston making an investment into the Pirates Unite campaign, the indoor practice facility. He and his wife donate $100,000. Your thoughts on it's gonna look really bad. Like, I don't think he's on the hot seat right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we finally get this indoor practice facility. We go 3-9.
Yeah.
Mike Houston's on his way out. Okay, well, thanks for the money.
Thanks for the day. Really appreciate it, Mike. Look, I honestly, when I first heard it, obviously it's a good gesture. It's a good look, right? And more than anything, it's a really good look from your head guy, who I believe has made a lot of great moves this offseason. He's looked very, very good. He does not look desperate. He looks hungry, right? He looks like a man who's hungry. Who understands the pressure of the moment. and is trying to get ECU back on track, not 2, 3, 4 years from now, but like immediately. And this just kind of plays into that. He's I think with that he proves that he is a pirate. He's here. He wants to be here for the long run. You don't donate $100,000 of your own money if you are not dedicated to this program. That is a lot. So that was very, very impressive by him and his wife. Obviously, I know they made that decision together. It wasn't just him. But I'm impressed. To be honest with you, I'm impressed. It's a good look from Coach Houston. But to your point, that is something, because he's not on the hot seat yet. I don't believe Coach Houston's on the hot seat. But if ECU does have a disappointing season again after a 2-10 season, you could see that Houston might be out the door and also out of $100,000. So that would be some shit. But I don't foresee that. But in the grand scheme of things, just a good look overall from Coach Houston. Very, very appreciative. I think we're only $3 million off from the actual goal at this point, so we're close. I mean, we are right there on the doorstep.
Yeah, super close. And already, I'm just waiting on you to write the check for $3 million. Come on, man.
If I could write the check for $3 million, trust me, I would not be on this podcast with you right now at 9:30 on a Wednesday night. We'd be so close, brother.
What else would you be doing, Artie?
So whatever the hell a millionaire wants to do at 9:30 on a Wednesday.
That's not talk to their best friend on a sports podcast.
Or at least we'd have our own studio. I can tell you that. We wouldn't be doing it
damn
from
right
the comforts of our own homes.
I think, yeah, I would love to set up an actual studio, but all right. Staying on Mike Houston for a second. I'm very proud of this gesture, and not proud of it. I'm happy with this gesture. I think it's great. I like the okay. Hey, we're saying we're part of Pirate Nation. We are giving up $100,000 of our money to go towards an indoor practice facility. That's huge, right? It shows commitment to the university, to the program. I won't say that it shows that, he's not gonna, if he gets offered a job somewhere else, he's not gonna interview or talk about it, because he will, and he'll make plenty of money, and the $100,000 won't matter.
Just the way
right? I do like the optics of it, though. Right? There were a lot of people, and you could say rightfully so, upset with Mike Houston last year,
right,
and upset with some of the members of his staff, right? And we would say, I mean, everybody was upset with his decision to keep Donnie Kirkpatrick and whatnot. Hey, Donnie's a friend of the podcast now. We're not going to talk any ill about Donnie, but that was a time where I thought if John Gilbert wanted to make a move, he probably could have. I don't think that the landscape was right for John Gilbert to make a move. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that he's given Mike Houston a chance to turn this thing around again. And I don't think that it's going to be a super long turnaround. He's done right with his hires, and
right.
It's re-energized this fan base and given hope going into the 2024 season, right? Like I'm hopeful, and I'm not gonna stand here or sit here and say, oh, ECU's going 9-3 next year.
Yeah, there still has to be tempered expectations. Like anybody calling for Houston's job, if we don't win 9 or 10 games, is still an idiot. Like we got to have tempered expectations.
Yeah. I mean that exactly. I'm good. I'm good with 7-5. I think you need to win at least 7 next year.
I agree. Yes.
With this schedule, I think you need to at least win 7.
Yes, you need to be going to a bowl game at the very, very least.
And absolutely. I think these hires, the changes that they've made to this offense, it's got Pirate Nation excited. And to have a coach that's bought in, the last one wasn't, right? Like Scotty Moe wasn't. We all know about Ruff. We all know what Ruff was what Ruff is. He's a pirate through and through, even though he wears that color red in Raleigh now. He's a pirate. Friend of the podcast. Right? So I say all that to say I like the looks of this. And I think it goes a long way to show that he cares about East Carolina and that this isn't just maybe a stepping stone job
right
into a bottom feeder Power 5 program. So that's my take on it. Talking about bringing in the guys they want already, ECU picks up 2 more transfers in the portal for football, some Power 5 transfers. Look, these aren't going to be your game breakers or whatnot coming in. They may not look like a whole bunch coming in, but they're filling holes where other guys leaving have opened up, right? We got Javonte Connor coming in from Ole Miss, tight end, transferring in right down the road from you and I already.
Yeah.
He's from Kernersville, Winston-Salem native. And then you have Aiden Duncanson, DB from Chapel Hill, coming out of Atlanta. Look, I mean, both these guys played in. Connor played in 3 games last year, only had 1 reception, 7 yards. Duncanson, he played in 1 game last year against Campbell, had 2 tackles. So stats not jumping off the page. They are what they are. They got time to grow and develop and grow in this program. And Connor has that relationship already with JDB.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it tells a lot that he was willing to leave Ole Miss and come kind of start all over in Greenville.
No, it does. I mean, he's leaving a big time program to come start over in Greenville, but he's with a guy that he knows, he trusts, and that's what you want to see. You want to see a guy like JDB be able to kind of lure some of these Power 5 guys away, especially to lure them away from playing for Coach Kiffin, who I mean Lane Kiffin's going to have Ole Miss humming in the SEC. That's my SEC dark horse next year is Ole Miss. They might actually win the whole thing as far as winning that conference, but to be able to lure a guy like that away with a guy that he's familiar with, it's always a good look.
Yeah, for sure. What are your thoughts on just the transfer class as it sits right now?
We're always optimistic and hopeful for each transfer class. A lot of these guys not hit. A lot of these guys actually bust. Some hit. I wouldn't say a lot hit. Some hit, a lot bust. But I'm optimistic. I think a lot of it has to do with coaching. I think a lot of it has to do with how you prepare these guys, how you can coach them up, how you can get them ready. So because of the coaching changes, because of what we have going into the next season, I'm optimistic about what we've got. But some of these guys are not going to pan out. We have to be ready for that eventual reality that some of these guys that we think are going to, they came from this place and they're going to work. Some are not going to work.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else on football, Artie? I'm ready for the season to start.
I am too.
Football season cannot be here.
The draft was such a tease, like, a couple weeks ago, just because it's like, okay, football's back. Like, we got it in the next couple weeks. And it's like, nope, we still got a whole summer.
Whole summer. I believe we're at about
UFL ain't doing it. Can't get into it.
I think we're about 115, 114 days away. I could be wrong on that, but we're closing in on 100 away. And once we get to 100, it's like, okay, the countdown's on.
Yeah. It's official.
So, all right, moving along. ECU baseball dropped a tough one in the second game of a doubleheader on Sunday. Pirates. Look, the Pirates are dealing with some injuries right now, right? And they're limping across the finish line. But I think that I say limping meaning they don't have a full staff, right? Not limping like I don't think that there's any cause for concern. Most of these guys are going to be back. We all know Jake Hunter's not going to be back this year, but I mean, White Lunsford Chinkman, Zach Root, they'll be back. Starling's back. Like, we're gonna be okay. But I think you've got so many guys out, especially after the doubleheader on Sunday. It's you're bound to drop one of these games.
Yeah,
at some point, right? Yeah. And the fact that the American Athletic Conference forced a doubleheader with a 9-inning and a 7-inning game on Sunday, and then the 7-inning game was after, I believe it was like a 4-hour. Was it a 4-hour rain delay? It was. It felt like it felt like we were watching a regional, right? Like,
right.
We know what happens at regionals and super regionals in Greenville, but ECU drops that game. Then last night against Duke, I won't say that they played their worst game all year, but they struggled against some of Duke's elite arms, right? And it was the least amount of hits ECU had all season. 4 hits on the night. Lose 5-2. You're sitting at 37-10. You're the number 6 team in the country. I believe we're at 10 on the RPI. Mm-hmm. There's not too much to be concerned about. Just, I've said it the last 2 weeks, take care of business, do your job. You've got to come out this weekend and sweep. This weekend has to be a sweep. Right now, we saw, I mean, they dropped ECU after winning, 9 straight games, 10 straight games, something like that.
Right.
They dropped ECU in the rankings because of one 7-inning loss to South Florida. Dropped them. So you have to win out. From here on out, you have to win out. Look, you got Tulane coming up, and then you got Campbell next week in the midweek, followed by Rice at home. Yeah. And all of those games should be winnable. And all of those games, you should be looking to go 7-0 in those games. I think ECU could do it. But you got to. I think you have to win out to have a chance. You have to win out and then probably win. Then you have to win the conference tournament. For me, in my opinion, to have a chance to be a top 8 seed.
Yeah, the polls are not in our favor, right? So I agree that you got to win out. I think this little late season hiccup that we had. Okay, it came.
I wouldn't even call it a hiccup.
We got it. Well, it's just a hiccup, right? And then you move on, right? It's
good teams lose baseball games all the time.
All the time, right? There's no reason to be. I mean, we're almost 30 games over 500. What do we? There's absolutely no reason to panic. There's no reason to think that this team is not going to continue to achieve what they want to achieve. And I think the offensive struggles from yesterday are not going to be. They're not indicative of what's going to happen. Again, even against another great team like Duke. Duke's a great team, right? They're going to be there.
Duke's a top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, it's a top 10 matchup, right? Losing to Duke, you're not going to go home and be like, oh my God, we just lost to a scrub. No, you lost to Duke. You lost to a very, very good team. Which a lot of opportunities, a lot of runners on base. There's a lot left, for position to score. So I don't see that happening again in the future. But I agree. I think we do got to win out because the polls are not in our favor. But I think it's very doable. And I think that starts this weekend with Tulane.
Yeah. I think get back on the right track this weekend. Down in NOLA, New Orleans.
And winning the American Conference tournament. I mean, I don't know. It's like death taxes in Pirate baseball winning the American.
It just always seems like, I mean, you have to have such depth to go through the tournament, and you always find a team, whether it's Tulane or Memphis or South Florida, that gets hot right at the right time. Now you've got to throw in the mix like a Charlotte.
Not bottom though.
Did Charlotte? I didn't check the score. Did Charlotte beat Clemson last night? Josh, can you check on that? I believe they did. I know they were down like 9-2 at one point, and then they came back and were leading late in the game. I mean, Clemson's the number 2 team in the country.
Right.
But with that being said, I think there's always one team that kind of goes superhero and makes a run at it in the conference tournament. You gotta dominate in the conference tournament.
That's
Josh,
true.
Clemson beat Charlotte.
what was that final score?
That final score was 14-12.
Whew. That was a good game.
Yeah.
Four runs in the ninth is what
Gotcha.
won the game.
Wow.
Like I said, Charlotte was down 9-2 and then took a lead, and then I apparently lost it. That's why I didn't hear Charlotte fans talking shit today. Okay.
A 2-out, 2-run doubles won it.
That'll do it to you. Thanks, Josh. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I always feel like going into the conference tournament, there's always that one team, and then you lose one game. Okay, it's double elimination. ECU's almost always in the championship game. I can't remember the last time we weren't.
Right.
But it's winner take all at that point, right? For the most part, if both teams have one loss, it's winner take all. Your best versus their best. You've played 6 games in the span of 4 days, 5 days. You're on E. Everybody's on E.
Yeah.
And you just gotta go out and execute. And I don't want to put it in those hands. I want ECU to go run the table and have to make a team beat them twice to win the conference tournament.
I agree. And look, 7 games left in the regular season. It's absolutely doable with Rice, Tulane. Obviously you got Campbell right there in the middle, which always is sneaky.
Campbell's not the same team that.
Yeah, they're not the same
that beat us earlier this year. They're struggling too.
But that's regardless. That's still a matter because they're going to get up for us. It's ECU. They're going to get up for us, right?
We're everybody's Super Bowl.
They're going to play their best stuff against us. That's just what it is. I don't think we go undefeated down the stretch. I do think there's going to be a loss in there. I think I see 6-1, truthfully. But I still think we finish the season strong.
ECU wins out.
Okay, I respect it.
I'm going to say ECU wins out. You get some of these guys that are banged up back for the conference tournament. I mean, you got 2 guys that have been on the Golden Spikes Award watch list all year long. You got one of, if not the best reliever in college baseball. I mean, he's got to be top 10, top 5, just based off ERA. You get those guys back. I think you go 7-0. I don't think they come back this weekend. I think you go 7-0 and then go into the conference tournament and run the table. Make them make a decision and make them piss off everybody in Greenville by giving you a seed lower than 8. I think ECU is going to be right around 8, but hey,
we control our own destiny. Though.
Give me a super regional in Greenville, North Carolina, and I will show you an electric factory.
We control our own destiny, though. Even though the polls are not in our favor, we absolutely control what's going to happen.
Do your job, part 3. No, I think just go out and execute. That's all you got to do. I think ECU is going to be a 7 or 8 seed once this all shakes out. All right, Artie, moving along. Anything else you want to talk about on baseball?
No, sir.
Okay, moving along. American Athletic Conference tournament started today for softball. ECU took down UAB, the team that they played this past weekend. The scenarios that Josh had put out last week, I don't think any of those came true. At least not for ECU. But all in all, I mean, ECU goes in 20 games over 500.
Yep.
And have some people on the second team All-American list. You got Morgan Johnson, the first baseman, Emma Jackson, sophomore outfielder, and Taylor Woodring, the utility senior.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all in all, I mean this team is good and has a chance to go deep. Looking at it, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, they claim co-champions. Right now, North Texas is they're the 3 seed. They beat Memphis today. Tulsa, the 5 seed, beat USF, and then the 7 seed East Carolina beat UAB.
Yep.
Tomorrow, ECU gets North Texas, the 3 seed. Look, North Texas swept us earlier this year down in Denton, Texas. I almost said Denton, North Carolina. That's close to my old stomping grounds down in Lexington, North Carolina. But yeah, I mean, do your job. I think for softball, it's you get hot, right? Just like baseball, you go on these streaks, and you've got to carry that momentum from a win today. I mean, ECU shut out UAB 4-0. Carry that momentum into tomorrow, right? Hey, just don't beat yourself. Go out there and be better than the day before. Rajay Harris 1% better, right? Do that, and I like our chances. Well, am I saying we're going to win the conference tournament? No, it's going to. I mean, there's some good teams in this conference for softball.
And we
Florida
have struggled mightily in the conference.
Yeah. Now, granted, we played well against Charlotte, not so much FAU, but yeah, you just got to get in there and anything can happen. That going back to our conversation on baseball, anything can happen in baseball and softball, right? Like you have one bad day at the plate, guess what? That's an L. You can't have multiple bad days in a row or bad games in a row in a conference tournament in baseball. You just can't have it. You've got to be perfect the entire way. And it's got to be perfect hitting, perfect pitching, perfect fielding to do something impressive, which is win a conference tournament. And you need a little bit of luck there too. So just keep grinding. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you. And I think we definitely have a chance because this team is good enough. It's just been so weird for softball this year. I don't know if I have personally ever seen a team with an overall record. You're 20 games over 500, but you have a losing conference record. That is the weirdest thing.
The conference is tough, man.
It's a tough conference. It's extremely tough. It's like we can beat anybody not in the American. But we don't play in the American, we can beat because I just don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. 20 games over 500, but a losing record in conference. But you're absolutely right with everything you said.
And you look at it. I mean, North Texas was swept by UAB earlier this year, right? And they were swept by, but they also swept FAU or beat FAU in 2 out of 3. So I think it's one of those things where, I mean, ECU won the series against Charlotte. Charlotte's the co-champion. Anybody can beat anybody in this conference on any given day. And when it comes to softball, that's why it's kind of a crapshoot. There were so many ways that people could move up and down the ladder in the last weekend of the season because it was so tight, right? So I'm not counting these girls out at all. It's not over till the fat lady sings. So, and I ain't singing. All right, walk the plank, Artie. You got to walk the plank.
I do have a walk the plank. This is close to your heart. All right. Now, my walk the plank for this week, because I'm just disappointed, right? One, Carolina Hurricanes. Y'all made me watch an hour and a half of overtime hockey last night, and you didn't get the dub. And I'm pretty pissed off about that because I never usually watch hockey. But I was like, you know what? This is an excellent game. I need to tune into this hockey game. 3-3 with the Rangers. I don't know how many shots on goal the Hurricanes had. It was at least 30 to 40 shots on goal more than what the Rangers had. It was something ridiculous. And the Rangers obviously won it in double OT. And I was just disappointed. I was like, y'all made me sit here and watch this damn game just to lose. So that's my walk the plank. I still think the Canes can make this a series. But Jared, come on, man. We down 0-2 to the Rangers?
Look, the Rangers are the best team in the NHL this year. Finished with
You
the
were
best.
just telling me last week Carolina's the favorite to win the cup.
They going into the series, they were the favorite to win the cup. They were still the favorite to win the cup. The Rangers had the best record in the NHL this year.
Yeah.
This is the number 1 and number 3 team in the NHL this year going up against each other. And they've both been 1-goal games. Very close. It's tough. It's tough to play on the road. You got to win one at MSG. My thinking, look, if you follow me on my personal account on Twitter, you can tell that I'm probably the most pessimistic and upset Hurricanes fan out there.
Facts.
I'm blocked by half of Hurricanes Twitter, just because I'm.
Jerry, you be ready to get rid of the whole team after y'all lose. You be fire this guy, trade this guy, get rid of this guy. We ain't got no dogs.
we don't. The Hurricanes don't have any killers. They don't have any killers. I'll say that. They don't have a single killer on their team. And to win, you need one of those guys. You need a killer. But all right, mine. I'll say mine is I don't know, the American Conference, the way they did us this past weekend, kind of screwed us with that rule for a 7-inning doubleheader. Just kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
That's mine. But yeah, I don't have anything else, Artie.
Jared is not really mad at nobody.
I've said my piece on Twitter last night. All right. Make sure to subscribe to Variety Sports Network. Check them out. Lots of great content. Follow us on social media at Boneyard Podcast on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube.
Yes.
Do that. You're a friend of the podcast for life. You don't, you can walk the damn plank. And then leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast. Good episode, Artie. Episode
Absolutely.
196 of the Boneyard Podcast. Get us out of here.
Hey, Power Nation, we love you. Until next week, always wash your hands, wash your butts. Deuce.
Peace.